In the history of international child protection, few institutions have had as long and complex a legacy as the Inter-American Children's Institute, known in Spanish as the Instituto Interamericano del Niño, La Niña y Adolescentes, or IN. Founded in 1927, the Inter-American Children's Institute was the first international organization in the world dedicated exclusively to childhood. It emerged during a time of growing Pan-American cooperation, driven by the belief that childhood was not only a private matter, but a shared political responsibility among nations. The Institute was created following the success of the Pan-American Child Congresses, which began in 1916 in Buenos Aires. These congresses brought together delegates from Latin America and the United States to discuss child labor, education, hygiene, juvenile delinquency, and state intervention in the lives of children. By the 1920s, there was a growing consensus among reformers and officials that these conversations needed a permanent institutional home. That led to the establishment of the Inter-American Children's Institute, based in Montevideo, Uruguay, where it remains headquartered to this day. From the start, the Inter-American Children's Institute aimed to be both a clearinghouse for information and a coordinator of child policy across the Americas. It collected data, published studies, advised governments, and drafted model legislation, especially in areas like juvenile justice, social assistance, and institutional care. The ideas promoted by the Institute reflected the spirit of the time, a mixture of social hygiene, educational reform, and legal paternalism. Children were seen as future citizens who needed moral guidance, discipline, and supervision, especially if they were poor, orphaned, or lived in irregular family situations. Though it claimed to act in the child's best interest, the Institute's early discourse was not rights-based. Like the 1948 Pan-American Child Code that it helped to draft and promote, the Institute focused on state intervention and protection, not on the autonomy or participation of children. It aligned more with a welfare and correctional model than with a human rights framework. Nonetheless, the Institute played a key role in influencing national laws. Many Latin American countries, starting with Brazil in 1927, adopted Códigos de Menores that drew directly on ideas debated at the Pan-American Child Congresses and promoted by the Inter-American Children's Institute. These codes granted juvenile judges broad discretionary powers and emphasized the institutionalization of so-called abandoned or delinquent minors. Throughout the 20th century, the Inter-American Children's Institute continued to evolve. After the creation of the Organization of American States, OAS, in 1948, the Institute became a specialized body of the OAS, formalizing its role in regional governance. From the 1960s onward, the Inter-American Children's Institute began to shift its language and goals. Influenced by global conversations on human rights, the role of the child in development, and eventually the 1989 Convention on the Rights of the Child, CRC, the Institute adopted a more participatory and rights-oriented approach. Today, the Inter-American Children's Institute promotes regional cooperation on violence prevention, juvenile justice reform, online child protection, early childhood care, gender equity and the rights of adolescent girls. It works with national governments, civil society organizations, and UN agencies to monitor state compliance with international standards and to promote public policies grounded in the best interests of the child. But the legacy of the Inter-American Children's Institute is mixed. On one hand, it was a pioneering institution, long before children's rights became a mainstream concern in international law. On the other hand, it helped institutionalize models of control and surveillance over poor and racialized youth, often in the name of protection. Understanding the history of the Inter-American Children's Institute helps us see how childhood has been constructed, governed, and debated in the Americas. It reminds us that international cooperation can serve both emancipatory and disciplinary purposes depending on how childhood is defined, and by whom.